So Ekhlas, you come out with this framework, right? It's called STEDI, STEDI, Student Explicit Direct Instruction. What inspired you to come up with this framework?
You know this thing about higher standards that everyone talks about, but what does that actually mean and how do we articulate it? If I go to your class, what does that mean? You might say that means every student is listening to me, fully engaged, and you come to my class, I've also got high expectations. But then you see something different. When there's a child misbehaving in your class, you're insisting on your high expectation. For example, my high expectation was when someone is speaking, you can't speak. That's non-negotiable. Why? It's about respect, it's about listening, it's about paying attention. So if they do it more than once, that was my thing, then sorry, but you have to, that's unacceptable to me. So then you send them out, whatever it is. Then you get the senior leader comes in, or the head of learning and say, "Sir, I've spoken to this child and it's fine, everything's fine. Take them back in." And you're at a loggerhead now because you're saying, "No, I'm the authority. I don't know if I want you back in."
Why would they put students back into the class?
Because it's their perception of standards. What drives them? They've interpreted standards or care, whatever it is that they've to mean that regardless of the circumstance, a student has to be. So it's a belief some people have, isn't it? Regardless of what happens, they must be in a class.
I also argue that they, in some way, knowingly or unknowingly, undermine you as a teacher by putting a child back. I mean, sometimes it can be that they know something you might not know.
Yeah.
But what you're saying, I suppose, is if this is a repeated practice where a sanction is not followed through, and then a senior leader's discretion, they are put back into the class, while you're expecting a sanction to be followed through because they did not perform to your standard. You're addressing something interesting here because what you're saying here is that in order for us to tackle behavior, expectation, what is important here we're talking about is consistency of what we expect to see. So students know if I do X, I'll get Y in return. If I misbehave, I know what is expected of me. So it's not up to an individual to interpret that. You're saying, let's agree on a standard and let's be consistent in our approach towards reward and sanction.
When they leave school, how do I want? So I want them to be polite, extremely polite. I want them to be highly educated. That's our core business. But I also want them to genuinely be respected in society. For them to, like, someone meets them for the first time and say, you're really polite. You're a really nice person. You're clearly articulate, the way you speak and the way you present yourself. You're clearly, ambitious and articulate. That's what I envisage for me. How do you make that real?
You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 section to this, and even before the 4 section, you've got 4 bullet points, which is quite interesting. So let's talk about this. Do the following throughout the school day. So you're addressing students here directly, not teachers, the students, which is important, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Because this will be at the back of their timetable. This will be in front of their PC on the screen as soon as they log in. So it is on their face. Right. And the first thing they read is that when SLANT is called, immediately fold your arms, track the speaker, and actively engage. So SLANT stands for sit up straight, listen attentively, answer or ask any question, never interrupt, and track the speaker. Which is quite nice, isn't it? Because it's giving them a structure to be obedient, to follow instruction, and not to be disruptive.
There's principles behind it, and that principle is the teacher's word is gold dust.
Very good.
What the teacher says, the teacher is a position of authority and responsibility. So what they say, you must listen to.
Someone else mentioned though. They mentioned actually is our word gold dust because sometimes we make mistakes, and we don't want teachers to be arrogant about things, and after making mistake, we don't want teachers to say, still follow me, still follow my instruction. How do you, because there's a point in that, isn't it? Is our world the gold dust? We're human, we make mistake.
Well, it's a good point. I mean, it can apply to any situation. So, for example, a football coach, right? Coach. That his position or her position is to define strategy, coach the players, and whatever else. Now, if players don't listen to this person, then they'll be doing the wrong thing. There'll be chaos. So their word is gold dust. We've given the teachers a framework. This marries what the teachers expected to do. So whilst we're expecting the students to do this, in reality, the teachers have to follow the framework applied to them.
Also, what we're also saying here is that this is a framework for the students to follow. We are the authority as adults in education, as teachers or as adults, if you like, in the school, around the school. Now, if we do make a mistake, we want our teachers to say, look, it was a mistake. We don't want them to stick to it.
In that sense, But
and that's fine. And sometimes that will help establish credibility and authority with the young adults, because they're not silly. They understand exactly what.
Well, look, when an NQT starts, we go out of, we make it a point to give their own classroom. Think about why.
Yeah.
We want them to feel they own their space. We want the students to feel like they've come to the teacher's space.
Yeah. No, but this is important because SHAPE is another acronym.
Yeah.
It helps our students to articulate things better. So SHAPE stands for, I've got a poster up there, no single word answer. We want them to put their answer in a sentence. It's important.
Full sentences.
Because this is important even after they leave education, right?
Yeah.
When they go for interview, we want them to be able to articulate in full sentence.
Yeah.
Okay, H stands for hands away from mouth. And be confident. One of the skills required for you to be employable is you need to be seen to be confident.
Yeah.
Okay. A stands for articulating. We don't want our students to mumble. Yeah. So can you imagine now in a school where when a student is spoken to, they mumble, and we say to them, actually articulate it better in full sentence. P stands for project your voice. How often do we see students, whether at the back of the classroom or the front of the classroom, they're not very confident. They speak under their breath. We say 10% louder. And finally, eye contact. Have you seen kids talking to you and they're looking around like this? I mean, some adults do that.
Yeah.
Eye contact is very important. That shows you're paying attention. Okay, this is a life skill. It's brilliant, right?
Absolutely. That's right.
But if we do this consistently and we encourage students to engage with these things consistently in the classroom, in the corridor, in the playground, then I agree with you. I think this will promote a set of skill set that students need in education as well as outside of education.
That's the main thing
to be successful.
Absolutely.
When we address the students, we want them to address back to us, sir or miss.
Yeah.
It's respectful. Thank you, excuse me, please, and smile.
Yeah.
Right. All of those promote a level of respect, a character that we want to see with our students.
Yeah.
Politeness, being polite.
Yeah.
I'm polite to you, you're polite back to me. We set the tone. Okay. So, Ekhlas, you're a curriculum deputy.
Yeah.
This has nothing to do with curriculum. Why have you got involved in this? Explain to me why you got yourself involved in what seems like a pastoral behavior, character development, as opposed to your core work that you do, which is to do with academic standards and curriculum.
Think about this. My role is a curriculum. It's all about planning strategically what students learn and why they learn these things. Then you've got to get the teachers to deliver this in the classroom. So that's your pedagogy, your teaching and learn. How do they deliver that curriculum? But ultimately that curriculum is for the students.
Yeah.
So we want the students to engage with that curriculum. I would say it is my role, very much so, because it's aligning what we're trying to teach them in the manner in which we want to teach them and in the manner we want them to engage with it.
Very quickly then, best possible start to your lesson.
Yeah. So in the beginning of the EDI framework, we've also got the same thing for the teacher.
Good.
The teacher starts with memory, activity. Before they go into class, it's very clear instructions what the teacher gives to the students. This is a narration for both the teacher and students of what happened. The students will expect the teacher to have the memory started on the board.
Yeah.
The next phase, the teacher modelling.
Yeah.
The students, again, will know, okay, the teacher is going to now teach me a new content or how to do something. How should I behave?
Yeah.
But it also allows the teacher to use this as a script to the students, saying, when I'm doing this, we are now in the modelling stage, and I think it's very good that we have this clear part.
3 to 1 slant.
Yeah, 3 to
you
1
don't
slant.
do anything else but to pay attention to my instruction.
Excellent. And that's the first line of this.
Yeah.
Listen carefully to what I have to say. I will be modelling misconceptions.
Yeah.
So you don't make the same mistake someone else did.
Okay. And then when I say go, and not a second before, I want you to pick up your pen and show me that you've understood. Ready? Go.
Excellent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now this, for example, the next part, the phase 3. This is an interesting point because something that we strongly believed in and we raised standards because of this, which is the shed loads of practice. Practice is memory. The more you practice, the more you consolidate knowledge. Lots of teachers didn't do it, and we insisted they do, and it made a huge impact in our outcomes.
Yeah, how else would we know if we've taught them something that is so important, we modeled that for them, how else would we assess their understanding by the end of the lesson whether or not they know what we've taught them? Only through giving them adequate time.
Yes.
So in a 50-minute period, we give them roughly around about 15 to 20 minutes for them to practice. In a double period, 100-minute period, probably give them 40 to 50 minutes for them to show and demonstrate that they have actually understood. So we expect teachers to go around and assess students' learning.
Absolutely.
Live marking.
It gives the teacher clear instructions of what the student should be doing and what they can say to the student.
But now you're giving students a very clear instruction.
Exactly.
How they should be engaging. Because we want the students to also understand how they should be behaving in relation to the teacher's instruction. And this is what STEDI, Student Explicit Direct Instruction, provide. And I like the last bit, which is the best possible end to your lesson, because this is where you celebrate learning. This is where teacher engages with the students and say, by using the DPR, for example, right, we've learned this key learning objective today, we've engaged with this today. Ikhlas, demonstrate to me, can you justify to me whether or not you've consolidated your learning or secured your learning? What evidence do you have? So you provide your evidence, and as a teacher, I may agree with you. And in that case, I will move your judgment interactively in the DPR, and the whole class celebrate this learning.
So genuine engagement.
Or it could be that I say, Ikhlas, actually, thank you very much, but I slightly disagree with you here. But well done for the effort. But in order for you to secure your learning, okay, I would like you to learn this bit or that bit. Or there's a misunderstanding around what you've highlighted here. I want you to correct that misunderstanding and consolidate your learning further. I mean, that feedback itself is very powerful, and I think you addressed this here. And then the orderly dismissal, reminding them of the corridor expectation and so on and so forth. What's your expectation for student explicit direct instruction in relation to how...
Like day to day, you mean?
Day to day, yeah.
Absolutely. So, first of all, students are reminded of this at every single opportunity. Like I say, it creates a narrative of what's about to happen in the lesson. So I envisage when they come in the morning, they line up, the head of learning addresses them, or the LG member addresses them before they do the chant.
So essentially anyone, so whether you are a senior leader, whether you're a pastoral leader, head of the area, student manager, if you go into a classroom, and it could be any phase of a lesson, okay, suddenly right now, teacher is clear what they need to be doing, student is clear what they need to be doing, you as an observer, you are also clear what you ought to be seeing.
Absolutely.
So that you can support appropriately.
It doesn't, and like you said, it doesn't matter if you're a teaching staff or non-teaching staff. It's clear. I think the real win here is this: the students know what to expect.
Very good.
They can hold. They're holding not the teacher to account, but they're holding the standard to account. We've made the standard clear.
They've held themselves to account.
Absolutely. They have a standard which they say, this is what lessons should look like, this is what learning should look like, and this is what I expect to happen.
And this is what I'm expected to do.